If you own a lake home and you're thinking, I may be selling this in the near future, you may be thinking, well, what should my expectations be about real estate brokerage commission? I'm Glenn Phillips with Lake Homes Realty and LakeHomes.com, and today I want to talk to you about the fact that there's no best answer, there's a best answer with you, and I want to give you some options to consider as you evaluate what you should expect from a real estate brokerage and commission when it's time to sell your lake home, which is a very unique piece of property that varies from traditional residential real estate. So first off, let's be real clear. It's 2021, we are in a hot market, which means if you're not absurdly priced, your house will sell, and it'll probably sell pretty quick if you're willing to not get a great price for it. And when I say great price, I mean for the market. It may be above what you paid for it, may be more than you expect, but it doesn't mean it's the maximum price. But you put it out there, as long as you don't crazy overprice, which has got a risk to it, then you can get a great price. So then you go, well, what do I need a real estate agent for? So the trick here is, if you want to sell really fast for a good price, but maybe not the best price, your options may really be to use someone who does some discount rates, who just puts it out there, the market's hot, they'll come by and you're off you go. And that may be your best choice. The flip side though is if you're wanting to maximize what you take home from the sale of your property, even after commissions, you may want to look more at more full service, full commission brokerages. And I'm going to explain why and how these types of brokerages, and full disclosure, that's the type of brokerage Lake Homes is, but I'm going to explain why these are of value, particularly for lake property, which has some unusual nuances that many agents don't understand themselves if they haven't worked in that market. So here's what you want to think about, some mindset about evaluating. If you want to maximize that amount of money, one of the things you want is an agent who's not just going to have a plan to list the house, but a plan for building interest in that home, a plan that's going to have an appropriate period of time to accept offers, and a plan to deal with multiple offer scenarios. They're also going to have a plan about how they price that home so you don't scare people away who despite it being a hot market, they won't foolishly overpay for a house that starts priced too high. So does an agent have all these plans versus I'm going to get in the MLS, I'm going to get in Zillow, and we're going to get those offers and get it sold? That's not a plan. That's a bunch of tasks. The next thing you need to do is, very important, is when those offers come in, is someone who's prepared to help you evaluate multiple offers, because it's not an auction. You're going to have multiple contingencies in offers, you're going to have risks in offer, you're going to have some deals that are higher risk than others, so do you accept that risk versus where it might not happen, the deal may fall through. Someone comes in with a really great highest priced offer and they have all these contingencies that your transaction never survives, and now you've run days on the market. Who can help you evaluate these? Some of these in some markets have escalator clauses. Somebody's got to do some pretty complex math to figure out how these happen, which often doesn't happen if you're selling really fast. Another thing that you want to think about for maximizing what you get out of your lake home is a very targeted exposure to the right buyers with sufficient time. So our agents across the country have sold billions of dollars of lake real estate, and one of the ways we've moved the needle in many of the markets that we've entered is we have access to buyers from other states. Well, these buyers, even if they're looking at your house on the market, are not the people who are going to show up and buy it in one day because they can't get there, but they're interested. And how do you get in front of those buyers across the country? There are a number of ways. We built LakeHomes.com, which is used by millions of U.S. adults every year, to make that easy for people. There are other options as well. But the idea is you want an agent who understands this is a targeted market. I'm not just needing to sell to the neighbors. There are plenty of people who come from out of state, they have means. More than half our transactions are cash, which de-risks your deal. You want access to those buyers in a time frame that lets them actually make a transaction, to make an offer. And that's not always done in a fast deal. And think about it, the more buyers you get involved who have an interest, the more likely you're going to get a maximum price for your house. You also want to look for an agent who's a great communicator, because there's a lot of complexity as the time passes that you don't need in a fast, snap-it deal. Who can communicate with other agents in a clear manner to avoid confusion and missed opportunity and keep from missing opportunities. And you need, interestingly, not a bully, but a bully-resistant agent. Candidly, the market's gotten kind of agitated. People are anxious to get their lake home. They feel they've messed out. And so some agents will try to ignore the rules you and your agent have laid down and shove a deal through knowing that it may not survive in a longer evaluation period. And so they want to do something to force you to accept their offer quick so that it gets off the market and they've got a quick answer. Well, you don't want to do this offer for a crazy long period of time, but you need to have an appropriate thing that follows a plan to get the maximum price for your house. And getting bullied by other agents isn't going to do it. And the last thing you want on this part about the best price is being sure you're priced appropriately for lake markets, because you're not just competing what's the price for homes at your lake. Many of these buyers are looking at multiple lakes, and so you can price inappropriately and kind of get stuck and let your house sit, and when it sits it gets dated and stale, and that idea you would overprice, bad, because it always costs more time and more money, and people start to wonder what's wrong with the house if you haven't gotten that designed plan for action on the home to maximize the return, which includes understanding the cost of it sitting on the market for months, which can happen. The other reason to evaluate agents is going to be risk minimization, liability. And now, real estate agents are not attorneys. They can't de-risk things, they can't keep anybody from suing. But one of the things we've seen across the country is real estate transactions are happening by people who had went out of the city, they went out of dense areas, and they're buying a lake home with some dream of what it's like, and it doesn't quite fit, or they miss the city and they have buyer's remorse, or they ran through the transaction really fast and things were missed. Something about, where were the property lines? What is the dock rules? These things, if a lake agent is not involved, they don't even know to ask. So having a lake expert agent involved in the sale of your property, make sure that these things aren't missed when you have agents that are on both sides and neither of them have lake experience. Now, you say, well, I've sold the house, so what's it going to matter? Well, the reality is, and it's not common, is that people with buyer's remorse or one out of the deal, they tend to seek legal action. When they do that, the sellers are typically one of the parties they name. They tend to name everybody, hoping somebody will write them a check. What they really want is to wish the thing had never happened because of their own mistakes. But you want to have somebody who's working for you who understands the lake real estate market and is not just trying to throw deals together quickly, unless your goal is to sell fast. In any event, I hope these have been helpful for you and your family to understand what you should expect about real estate commission and services, because they're interlaced, and is of value to you. We've got agents around the country who can talk more specifically about your market. They're on lakehomes.com under agents. If you don't see an agent in your market, we also have a network of agents that we work with other brokerages. We cooperate with them and work with them who can also help you out. Be sure to visit lakehomes.com if you also want to evaluate the market, because we have tens of thousands of properties for sale right now, so you can kind of compare. Although inventory is at really a historic low, and that's been pretty interesting to watch. We also have other videos, including shorter ones than this, that are helpful about buying or selling lake property, and lots of articles about real estate at the lake and lake lifestyle. So be sure and visit us. Thank you for your time and have a great day.